Hello, this is Marcus. I would like to show you the latest version of Eldiron, version 0.8.21. It has a Doom style editor and you can use it to create both 2D and 3D games, classic RPG games. Okay, let's get started. We have here on the right the sections and on the left side we have the tools. Let's go to the tile set section, click the plus button to load the tile set. Let's take the basic 3D one for now. Here on the left, we select the tile set tool to import tiles into Eldiron. First, we have to set the grid size to 16 because the tile set is 16 by 16. Then we can just select a range of tiles and we can import them by add tiles in different ways. First as single tiles, or as an animation, or multi, if this is a sequence of multiple tiles. For example, this here would be multiple tiles, for example. Okay, let's set this to man-made for better indexing, single, add tiles. And then we go here, and we see them in the tile picker. Now in the region section, let's click plus to create a new region. And now we can use the tools here on the left to create some content. First, the line def tool creates line definitions. So let's select some lines. By just clicking, you can add more lines to it. And when you go back to the first vertex, it's actually creates a sector. A sector is an area in your game. Let's go to the sector tool, select it, and then we can apply a floor texture or a ceiling texture. Let's go ahead and do a floor texture here on the floor. Press apply. Now it looks a bit dark because we have the daylight simulation and it starts at midnight. So let's go to middle of the day. When we go to preview, we can see the whole thing in 3D, first person. The region here also has a mini map where you can drag. The yellow button is look at, and the right button rectangle is the position you're currently at. So you can do some mini navigation here. The next step would be for 3D, would be to add some walls. So we click the 3D tool and let's select all the walls. Here we can select the wall height of 4. And then the next step would be to have a tile. Let's just use any tile here for the first row. And you see we have a tile here now, a wall now. So this is by default, you can select up to 4 rows of different tiles. And but we don't do that right now because the first row by default is repeated. So repeat source, when we click it to no, then we only have the first row of tiles. We can let's set it back to yes. We can maybe just select one tile or one line or wall line def and change it only for this wall. No. Then we can add the same tile to row 2 and maybe a different one for row 3. Oh, row 2 and row 3 and leave one open here. We have the preview. It doesn't really look that great with the other. Let's set it all to this wall, this tile. We have this. Now we can add a ceiling to the sector, to this game area. And we add the sector, the ceiling with, let's click this, we go to the sector tool, select C-Link and apply. Then we have to set the ceiling height. Let's set the ceiling height to the same as the walls to 4. So we have the ceiling here. Now you see we also have a little bit of a look to the outside here with a missing tile on top. Now we can just add some details to it. For example, we could select the line depth tool. We could do another smaller sector and select it. Select tile. Maybe we just make it 1 high. Then we have this small thing here. So you see, this is very easy way to add details. We can also use, maybe we can add some effects to it. Let's select this line here, and we can select effects, add. This is like a point light. Can add lights to any kind of tile on the floor or on walls. Now, the next thing maybe would be to use the rec tool. So we have different tools. Selection, you can just select any kind of geometry and delete it or move it. With vertex tool, you can only move vertices. So I mean, when you do something like that, you always see the live preview here in the 3D viewer too. But we don't want that right now. The line depth tool is to select. The line depth tool is to select and move lines. The same with here with the whole sector. But they have another tool which is the rec tool. In the rec tool, you can directly add rectangular areas wherever you want, which is very convenient. Let's say you want to have this tile, and you can, in 2D, it would be like creating an Ultima 4 or 5 game. You can just paint, the tile wherever you want. You can layer them, override them. But in 3D, you can also, when you're in 3D mode, or if you want to make a 3D game, you can also use the rec tool to create billboards or boxes or a floor. So if you select box, for example, and we add this here, you see we have a box. If we would do the same and would select, let's say, this as a billboard, back tool, then we have created geometry with a billboard. This is nice for like fountains and stuff like that. So you can see it follows you around. So it's also perfect for trees. So the next step would be to add a character to the scene. We go here to the character section, press plus, and now here on the left in the code tool, we can define the behavior of the character. Characters and also items in Eldiron are Python classes. So if we change the name of the Python class to player, you see also the character template changes its name to player. And we can now in the event, which is sent to the event function, on the startup event, we can register this character to be a player. Player characters get user events sent to the user event function. For example, it's here the key down, key press events. And as we want to navigate the scene a bit in a game mode, this character should be registered as a player. So when we now drag and drop the player here into the scene, we create an instance of it. And when we now start the server, we go into the game tool, which lets us simulate the game. We can move the character around, collide with walls, but it's only 2D. Let's make this in 3D too. So we go to the code tool and we register. We don't want to not only register it as a player, but also set the camera to no, set player camera to first person. All these events which you see here, these actions going forward, left, right, they adopt to the camera mode. So now in 3D, they behave differently than in 2D, and they simulate the 3D camera. So when we start again, we go to 3D, we see we can now navigate the scene in 3D in first person mode. We slide along geometry, we slide along walls. This is all inbuilt, and we can actually change the friction with walls and so on. Now something what is a little bit not so nice is that the sector is very light during daylight. We want to occlude it a bit. So we select this sector and we set occlusion to 0.4 maybe. Yeah. So it makes it a little bit more atmospheric. And now it would also be nice to add an item like a torch to light up the scene a bit more. For that, we go to the item mode, click plus, new item, and it's the same process as with the character. We give it a name, torch. We can now define also attributes. We have also a data tool here, and in this data tool, we can define attributes for both characters and items. All these attributes you could also set via Python, via the scripting, but it's somehow more convenient to do it via the data tool. So to give the torch a tile, we have to define a tile ID. For that, first we go to the tool again and select the torch tiles here, make it an animation. It's man-made, add the tiles. We go to the sector tool. We can define, now we click on the tile and we can copy its ID to the clipboard. Now in the data tool, we can give it, assign it a tile ID. Now we can just drag and drop the item to the scene, like the camera, as the characters. When we start the server again, we see the torch icon. And it would be nice if it would give some lights, so we can just enable the light section. In Eldiron, every end character or entity can emit light. So we just need to enable the light section, set maybe intensity to 1 and the distance, the end distance of the lights, the radius to 3. And now we can play again. You see we have the light here. We can just navigate around items and characters, they also always have billboards as for their tiles. So you can actually, they always move, they always point towards the user. So that this way you get a 3D impression of the tile. You can have many options to change things. For example, you could in the tile picker for the torch tile, you could make it bigger. If you have a tree, for example, which you want to make very big, you just change the scale of the tree, so it would appear bigger in the scene. Okay, that was a quick overview over the 3D section. In the next section of the video, I want to show you a little bit about 2D. So here you see a small 2D region in Eldiron, and it has some items, 2 characters. And if I start the server, you see here's an orc here in the garden. There are some items I can interact with, and I have my player character. Let's go to game mode. I can move that character around. When I bump into the sign, it gives a text. The door opens and closes automatically. The gate tells me I need a golden key, which I probably get from the orc. And this is just a demonstration that this is the same system. You can create 2D and 3D games, and it's your decision. You can also have regions in 2D or regions in 3D, mix them up to you. And I want to make a different video where I talk about how I created the doors, the gate, and how I animate the orc. But this is for the next video. So thank you very much. If you are interested in Eldiron, please like and subscribe, and maybe consider joining my Patreon. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Hi, this is Marcus. I am working on Eldiron. Eldiron is a creator for classical RPGs of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. It aims to be able to create games in the spirit of Ultima, Dungeon Master, Elder Scrolls Arena. If you like these games as much as I did and do, please consider joining my Patreon to support my work on Eldiron. Thank you.